I don't mind spending it. Yeah.
Do you like the way I flick my tongue or no? Oh no. You can ride my face until you're dripping cum. Can you lick the tip then throw the dick or no? Can you do it, baby? Can you let me stretch that pussy out or no? I'm not the type to call you back to, but the way you wrapping around me is a problem. Ain't nobody tryna save you. Baby, get that paper. A lot of other bitches owe you favors. Save that shit for later. Took her to the kitchen, fucked her right there on the table. She rapping XO to the death. I'm tryna make these bitches sweat. I'm tryna keep that pussy wet. I'm tryna fuck her and her friends. I'm tryna
on this girl and all. Show me as you barely bought your money, girl and all. Don't run on it, fuck on it, fuck on it. On this girl and all. Show me as you barely bought your money, girl and all. Money, girl and all. Money, girl and all. Money, girl and all. Don't play with a boss. Girl, take it all. Take it for a real one. You gon' get it all. Is you really about your money or not? Can you really take dick or not? Can I bring another bitch or not? Cause you put
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hello? What'd you do?
I plugged this in here last time because I thought it
Uh,
was connected to the mic, so I thought it was supposed to
Oh, okay. Hello? 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 1 2 1 2. What mic is this? What mic is this? What mic? What mic is this? Mic 1. Hello? 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 How does that sound? Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hello?
I don't know,
Hello?
it sounds pretty good.
It sounds fine.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what my voice sounds like. Alright. We have the mics fixed. We just need to get the mic stand back up.
Are you coming back?
I'm coming back at 8.
Alright, gotcha.
Yeah.
No problem.
Alright.
Later.
Have a good night.
Right, so testing. There we go. So you don't really need to hear yourself. The audience will already hear you. But if you do want to hear yourself, just to see how you sound, you just turn up your booth volume just a little bit, not that much.
I imagine not a lot.
Yeah. So I'm going to put it like right there in the middle for you. If you want to turn the microphone off, if you don't want them to hear you. That's your max volume.
Why does the Wi-Fi keep?
I don't know. It's stupid. Yeah, so you just put in the title for your show, add description, and if you want to share it, here is a sharing link.
Okay.
Yeah, so and the live chat's right there. When you're done with your show, just stop streaming or stop recording, and if you need any help, just let me know.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
No problem. Do you want the lights on by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. Testing. Like, testing. Okay. Good evening, all listening to the WSVA radio station today, folks. My name is Dominic Sabara. I am a current undergraduate of SVA, and welcome to a brand new segment of the radio I call No. Probably should have came up with the title first. Sorry about before, folks. Just had a little bit of trouble there, but... Huh? Okay. Sorry about before, folks. I had a bit of technical difficulties, but welcome to a new part of the WSVA radio station called Film Talk, hosted by me, Dominic Sabara. What's this segment about, you may ask? Well, I talk about older recent movies, either live action or animated. To kick off this new, no, forgive me, I'm a little nervous. To kick off this new station, a blog, whatever, I decided to talk about a sequel that just came out not too long ago. And what I'm talking about, of course, is the second Kingsman movie, The Golden Circle. Now, for those who don't know, what started off as a comic book series back in 2012, flash forward to 2 years later to 2014, or 2015 in America's case, there was an adaptation that was released to theaters called Kingsman: The Secret Service, and was a pretty big hit at the box office. With people who saw it, consider it a rather refreshing take on the action spy genre. As for me personally, well, as someone who hasn't really seen that many spy movies, even I found myself enjoying the first Kingsman: Secret Service. I understood some of the things they were poking fun of, and once you get that out of the way, it still had some pretty good moments. Pretty great stuff. Eggsy was a great lead character. The action scenes were very memorable, especially the infamous church scene. The humor spot on, and how can you go wrong with a villain when your main antagonist is Samuel L. Jackson with a lips, with his assistant being a woman literally named Clip Springer. Can't get any crazier than that. But with all that said, what about the Golden Circle? How does it compare to its brother? Well, if you ask me, it's good, but on par with the first film, not really. and to understand, and before I get into that, I will probably do a brief synopsis of the story, and if you're listening to this and haven't seen the first and if you're listening to this and if you haven't either seen the first Kingsman or the sequel, be warned, spoilers are abound. Now the Golden Circle kicks off a little later on, after the first, where the first movie ended, with Eggsy dating now that woman who he scored with at the end of the first film, and is currently having a nice job as being a Kingsman. But then things started to get suspicious when a rejected soldier from the Kingsman, Charlie, re-entered the scene working for a new organization called the Golden Circle, led by a 1950s American culture crazed woman. But what ended up happening after? What ended up happening after Eggsy encountered Charlie was that, there's no way to put it without. Like I said, spoilers abound, so if you haven't seen the movie, cover your ears for this. The Golden Circle hacked into the Kingsman service, found where each of the members' location are, and wiped them all, most of the members out, except for Eggsy and Merlin, another character who managed to escape. After finding out that there's a similar organization to Kingsman called Statesman, through drinking some wine, the two decided to head out to Kentucky to find out more about this Statesman group. While on the way, they come across someone who they thought was dead, but might be alive. Now, with that said, I should probably get a few of the things that kind of bugged me a bit out of the way first. First and foremost, the villain. Now, like I said before, the first film's main antagonist was Samuel Jackson with Ellipse, who wants to eliminate all the crazy people in the world. In the second film, it's like I said, a woman who has a crazy obsession with 1950s culture, right down to having a secret base that's literally has designs of a diner and a movie theater in the 1950s. And even crazier was that she has two dogs literally named Benny and Jet. Now, I'm sure anyone who understands the reference is probably laughing right now. Now, with that said, despite having such a crazy quirk / personality to her, she still feels like a step down. Even though the actress playing her is having a fun time, the problem is that the movie doesn't really give her that much screen time for us to fully enjoy her. So compared to Jackson, this character just feels like a weaker antagonist. Also, when I mentioned that my next issue is regarding some of the characters that got axed off. Particularly one of the other Kingsman members. Fuck, what was her name? It was basically that female Kingsman that was with Eggsy, whom they had a prominent role in the first movie. At first, in the beginning of the second film, they were setting up sort of like the person behind the computer, making sure Eggsy was doing his mission all right. So, what's my problem with her? With what happened? She was one of those spy members that got axed off. Yep. All that's. Sure, she wasn't Eggsy's girlfriend or something, but so it wasn't too much of a loss. But at the same time, though, what's the point of setting her up to be like a potential recurring character in the first film, only to have them axe her off? It's just odd, in my opinion. lastly, this is one of those movies that have like sort of been there, done that sort of vibe. What I mean is that there are certain scenes in the movie that felt like they've been done in the first movie before. For example, there was one scene in the Kentucky bar where Eggsy, Merlin, and might as well say who were Harry. No use keeping who the person alive was. Name a secret since the trailer did a good job spoiling that. But anyway, they were talking with one of the statesman's agents named Whiskey, and what followed in that scene was sort of like a repeat of when Eggsy first met Harry. You know what for those who saw the first movie, you know what I'm talking about, where Eggsy ran into trouble and Harry saved his ass in a bar. I mean, granted, it is a little different since Harry now has an eye patch, and it's now Whiskey who beats up the idiots that were giving them trouble. But still, and speaking of the statesman, I forgot to mention them since they're also a bit of a I also have a bit of a problem with them. Whiskey aside, none of the other characters, none of the other statesmen really get that much screen time. Halle Berry's character is underutilized, so is Jeff Bridges, and especially Ryan Gosling's. To be fair, they do set up something if you stick at the end of this movie, but for the most part, he's just out cold. So yeah, I kind of wonder what Gosling felt during this whole thing. Like, you got me into this cool movie, only to have me kicked out for what, 75, maybe 95% of the movie. Yeah. I think that's... Oh, and I guess I should probably move on to what I liked about Golden Circle and Circle. Well, for one, the action scenes were great. Sure, none of them do quite come close to to either the climax or the church or the aforementioned church scene from the first film, but there were still some fun moments. The opening chase car between Eggsy and Charlie kicked off the movie to a bang. The climax where Harry and Eggsy fight Whiskey was really good. Some really solid camera work. It almost feels like one big shot without any cuts, if you know what I mean. And even the scene before that, where after Merlin sort of unfortunately died, Eggsy and Harry went all out into the villain's lair and was inglorious. And the set pieces there were pretty glorious, if I do say so myself. Also, it's admirable that they try to give a better relation with Eggsy and Harry, and it is understand. And now, what I mean is, okay. What I mean is that we do get an understanding that the two of them do. Anyway, that Eggsy does really miss Harry for especially since he basically taught him all the things he did. So. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna move on from there, so apologies. The special effects, yeah, there we go. Considering how the sequel got a bigger budget than the first film, the director and the filmmakers definitely took advantage of the more money they have. The aforementioned Benny and the Jet dogs were well designed and animated pretty well and looked like they could belong in the same environment. But the most interesting visual part is whenever Harry sees butterflies. While they're not really there, it is rather beautiful, and it is a good way to show that he's getting lost in his thoughts, especially since he just got out of an amnesia scenario. The humor, as for the humor, it's still intact. The banter Eggsy has with with the people he meets is still there, and some of the ridiculous scenarios scenarios get a laugh. Particularly one scene with a meat grater. But the biggest laughs actually comes from I kid you not, Elton John. Now, when I saw the trailer and the marketing, I assumed that John was just going to be a one-off cameo. Like somebody just brought in for like a quick little guy, like, hey, look, there he is, and move on. But nope, what they utilized with him instead, my God. Oh, so what happened was, not only does John seem like he's having a lot of fun with his performance, even if he does tend to overdo the F word, but then again, R rating, duh. But I think what sold it to me was the unpredictability of what they did with him. Oh, I mentioned before that the trailer made it look like he was just going to be like a one-shot cameo. And when the movie initially used him, I thought they were just going to use him as like a test for like the villain's plot. But he doesn't stop there. He actually gets some not only is there a pretty hilarious sight gag where the Benny and the Jet Dog come out right next to us left and right, considering he wrote the song. Not only is there in the movie theater one of the titles it says is "The Bitch Is Back," which is another song as well. But they really utilize him in the climax where he was just sick and tired of being cooped up in the villain's lair and just went all out on the villain's henchmen. Even helping out Harry at one point and offering him a ticket for his next concert. I'm not gonna lie, I really was surprised he was the highlight of the film, especially since I'm not really too fond of using the whole celebrity playing themselves in a fictional world sort of scenario. But kudos to the people who worked on the film for making Elton John the highlight. Wait, there's something else. So, sorry, I'm just trying to figure. I knew I had something else that's on my mind, but I don't know what it was. Oh, right. Right. There was one more thing I forgot to mention about the story. How it handles the theme of drugs, believe it or not. You would assume it would either decide that was for or decide that it will be against drugs. But in the movie scenario, it's a little bit of both. While the villain's plan seems to be like a case of a lesson of don't do drugs, at the same time let me rephrase that. One scene that would show the villain making a plan that would pretty much be a good don't use drugs scenarios. But then another scene there would be an argument that some of the people who are doing drugs are just experimenting or doing it for the first time. And on a side note, this even ties into how the president is represented as someone who just wants to get rid of people who use drugs, regardless of who they are as a person. Which in a way kind of provides some commentary on the war on drugs. And given how the president is portrayed as like a jerk, one would make comparisons with a certain president in the office right now, but I have a feeling this won't be the last time we would see a president being portrayed as a jerk in cinemas for the next few years. That's just a gut feeling. So, no. I guess that's all I have to. No, yeah, that's all I have to say. Golden Circle might not be on par with the Secret Service, what with its underwhelming villains, scenes that feel like been there, done that, and some characters that had potential based on how they were set up in the first film, only to be dashed away here in the sequel, or even some of the new characters they introduced having their potential wasted, like with the exception of maybe one. And I still found some enjoyment out of it. It still had fun action scenes. It still had some good humor. It still had the same likable characters, mainly because they are the same characters. But, and it even slips in some interesting interesting views on drug usage. This is just one of those. To me, this is just one of those sequels that just kind of proves that the first film was just a lightning in the bottle scenario, where, you know those sequels I'm talking, the ones that try hard to recapture what made the first one unique, but while it did get some things right, it sort of missed on it. Kind of like Ghostbusters 2 in a way. But with that said, I still recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't say it was as good as, I wouldn't say not as good as the first one, but as a sequel, it's still worth seeing. And to be honest, based on the last scene they decided to end off the movie with, I'm kind of curious to see what they'll do with a third Kingsman movie. Maybe that will be the one that will top the first one, or if not, maybe it might be better than the second one. Who knows? But anywho, thank you guys for joining this first rendition of Film Talk, and I promise the next time I will be here, it won't be as clunky or awkward as this one. So, yeah. Then I would say what I have in store next time, but I don't like to be the kind of person who would spoil the surprise, now would I? I thought so. See you next time.